This is Mr. Thompson Science Biology. Today we're talking about genes. So what is a gene? Well, a gene is a segment of DNA that codes for something, usually a protein or a series of proteins. There are several genes on every chromosome, and you have two of every chromosome, and therefore you have two of every gene. Genes and traits. Not all genes give you a visible trait. Sometimes it takes more than one to have a visible trait. Not all traits are genetically controlled, but in genetic traits, you have an expression of the genes according to various types of dominance. And we'll have another lecture talking about the types of dominance, how the two genes form one appearance. Traits are differences or variations in an individual organism. So those are the things that make us look different or make the different plants look different from each other, so that we're different from each other, difference or variation. And then there are different sequences for each gene, and a sequence for a gene is called an allele. So when you have more than one, that's alleles. Genotype is what two genes do you have for a trait? And then phenotype, what does it look like? What is the expressed trait? The expressed trait, what is it going to actually do? So when we get into doing Punnett squares and other things, genotypes will be letters and phenotypes will be tall, small, red, blue, green, any colors, any descriptive words that you can think of can be a phenotype. Genotype, we're going to be talking about what genes you have, and we're usually going to use letters to describe those. Then we have the Hox genes. Hox genes are kind of fun because they enable or disable other genes. They control gene expression. So most of the time when you're dealing with Hox genes, you're talking about the developing offspring. So you are at a single cell. How does that single cell know how to make and change into all the various parts? So the Hox genes determine where the limbs are going to be, where other body parts will be located as the offsprings are formed, from first a single cell to then some tissue to organs and to then an organ system, and finally you have a full organism, one living thing. So Hox genes are very important. Without Hox genes, there would be nothing controlling where your arms and legs are, where your nose and eyes are. Things could be very mixed up. And this has been Mr. Thompson Science Biology, and this has been a lecture on genes.